What's going on, you guys? Laxo again here. So, now we are going to be going over NEMU. She is the new character with the Halloween event. As you see right off the bat, she is a Black Tortoise Soul Hall. Black Tortoise Soul, in my opinion, is the strongest Soul Hall in the game. So that's good. However, she's a skill specialty, which is not good because they are extremely squish. Let's take a look at her Heroic War Soul. Alright. Increases defense skill specialty characters by 0.5. That'll probably top out at about 3%, I'd assume. Let's go ahead and take a look at her talent here. Increase the attack of all characters by 2%. That's actually pretty good. Probably top out at around 5%, maybe? Yeah, I'd say probably 5%. That means the people that are going to spend a lot of money to get her to 6-star, 7-star, however hundreds to thousands of dollars that may be, are going to get a nice chunk right there of attack. Anyways, so I have been looking at her skills here, and they are they read very weird and they act weird. So I'm going to go over her skills really quickly, and then I'm going to do a battle, and then we'll go back to the skills. Anyways, okay, so her mastery skill deals damage to a single enemy plus additional damage equal to 8% of NEMU's max HP. There's a 50% chance to disorient the target for 1 round. Disorient is interesting because not too many characters have disorient. Usually it's just Aizen. Anyways, her rage. Okay, so this is where things get very confusing here. Deals damage to an enemy column. To a column of enemies, decreases damage reduction rate of all targets by 10% for 2 rounds. Inflict targets with 1 stack of Witch's Contract. And it cannot be stacked without her weapon. Anyways, so Witch's Contract reads, before taking action, receive damage equal to... The enemy receives damage equal to 1% of NEMU's max HP for every 50 rage. Remove 1 stack of Witch's Contract after activating. When NEMU dies, all Witch's Contract will be removed. So, the way this is reading is you rage, that applies Witch's Contract, and then whenever you take action again next round, I'd assume next round, that's when it goes off. And that's when the enemy receives up to 20% of damage. Because 50, if she had 1,000 rage and it goes to the next round, they take 20% HP. Or her HP is damage. Alright, moving on here. Inflicts target with 1 stack of Witch's Contract, cannot be stacked. After weapon awakens, 2 stacks of Witch's Contract can be applied, and each activation heals ally with lowest HP for 50% of the damage dealt by Witch's Contract. That's pretty good. However, you have to consider that it's 50% of 1% for every 50 rage she has. So, if let's just say it does 10%, or if she has whatever 500 rage, and it does 10% of her HP to the enemy, that's only a 5% heal, which is very, very small. Very, very small. That'll probably be, let's just say 2 million health is the average. 5% of 2 million is, I mean, you'd be lucky to get 100k off that. I'm sorry, 500k off that. So, I can't really see that being too great. Anyways, let's go ahead and look at her passive here. Alright, her passive. NEMU has increased damage reduction. At the start of combat, NEMU gains 2 stacks of Ghosts, which has a 100% chance of activating. Actually, let's take a look at Ghosts. Alright, NEMU has increased damage reduction, which is good. She needs it because she's a skill specialty, which means she's going to be squish. So she needs that damage reduction, which is only 8%. So, Ghost reads, when activated, restores 25% of max HP to a unit near death. Stacks up to 2%. The term near death is extremely vague. What does that mean? Near death, does that mean 10%, 20%, 30%? Or does it mean like Orihime, when her passive goes off, it's 50%. When they get below 50%. Anyways, has increased damage reduction at the start of combat. NEMU gains 2 stacks of ghosts, which has a 100% chance of activating when an ally is nearing death. Again, the vague term of nearing death. Let's just assume it's less than 50%, okay? So if somebody goes less than 50%, Ghost pops off and gives them 25% HP back. And that can only go off once per round, which is actually less than Orihime because she starts off with 2 stacks and she tops out at 3 stacks. Anyways, activating once removes 1 stack of ghosts. This effect can only be activated once per round, as I said. After a stack of ghosts has been spent, NEMU gains 400 rage and gains 1 stack of pumpkins. Let's take a look at pumpkins. Increased damage reduction rate by 5% and crit resist chance by 10% for all allies. That's really good, especially for all allies. That's pretty good. I won't dog that. That's actually pretty good. NEMU gains 400 rage and 1 stack of pumpkins. Lasts until end of combat and stacks up to 2 times. Killing an enemy with Witch's Contract grants NEMU 1 stack of ghosts. Which I could only assume that's not going to happen too often. I can only assume that's not going to happen too often. But if it does happen, then NEMU's going to get a stack of ghosts, which is roughly 1 stack of Orihime's Snowman passive. So that's interesting. So she's going to do damage, percentage damage, HP, a percentage of her HP damage to an enemy, and then if it kills the enemy, that gets her a stack of, let's just call it Snowman to be... Let's just call it Snowman. So she gets a Snowman, which then gives her 25% of, or, somebody gets low, that gives them 25% HP. Interesting. And also she gets 400 rage back, which is really good, which will also, once again in return, pump Witch's Contract. Okay, so that we quickly went over that, let's go ahead and look at her in battle. So, once again, the way it's reading is the way I'm reading it. The way I'm reading it is after the next turn goes by. After the next turn goes by, then Witch's Contract goes off. So let's take a quick peek here. So 50% chance to disorient. Didn't happen. That actually did do quite a bit of damage though. Alright, so as we can see here, this is going to apply Witch's Contract. Which are those marks above their heads. So, at this point, since they're going to take damage, I'm going to attack here. So I'd say she's probably at about 50%, 60, let's say 50% rage. 50% rage, which should get 10% damage to go off on the enemies. But, as you can see, the problem now is they didn't take any damage. So, I must be reading that wrong somehow, some way. Let's try it again. Okay. So. And it also lowered... Oh, yeah, that's right. Lowered their defense. So, once again, that little buff right... The little thing above his head, that should be Witch's Contract. And he's not taking any damage. Not taking any damage. Still not taking any damage. And it's gone. So, this has to be a bug. Which contract is applied. Hasn't gone off. And it's gone. Let's take a look at her rage skill one more time. Okay. So please correct me if I'm wrong here. But I think her passive or her rage passive skill is busted right now, is broken, because before taking action, receive damage equal to 1% of NEMU's max HP for every 50 rage. Unless she just doesn't have a max HP. For 2 rounds. Inflicts targets with 1 stack of Witch's Contract. Yeah, anyways, that's how I'm reading it. I don't see it working properly. If you guys have a better understanding of it, please let me know in the comment section. My personal take on this is not a free-to-play character. Absolutely not. It would be fun to mess around with, because let's take a look at her bonds. She has 4 HP bonds, which, as you hear me stress about in every video, characters like this, they have to either have 4 attack or 4 HP. She has 4 HP. And her bonds are actually pretty easy to get. Very, very easy to get. These two, as soon as you get her, you should already have them at purple. And then, of course, those 2 HP bonds. So, anyways, you guys, that'll wrap up this one. Please let me know in the comment section if you understand this a little more than I do. And, yeah, if you guys would also feel free to subscribe. I would really appreciate that. I'm trying to get my next goal, which is probably like 500, 1,000, something like that. I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, you guys, that'll wrap up this video. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.